And we are back with 3 broken chairs.
I like that.
Welcome back, guys. It's great to be back, guys.
This one's probably going to be a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more flowing. We're probably not going to have exactly a more determined
or set topic.
Yeah,
we don't have a set topic. We're just throwing it out there.
You know what? This is going to be fun. This is just going to.
What do you feel like talking about, Ricky?
I've had a lot on my mind recently. I've been really getting into a little bit of YouTube here. A guy called Rose Anvil. He's been cutting apart some boots, man. Been tearing some boots in half. I realize there's a little bit higher class boot out there than just your Carolina Red Wing Irish Setter. You know
awesome.
what I mean? I
was going to ask if it was like real boots or is this some like code for some new conspiracy look up on YouTube before they filter it?
I'll give a little wink if there is, buddy. But there's a brand of boots. I think they were called Nix boots, a 14-layer leather sole, which blew me away. Now I looked into it a little bit. Your normal dress shoe, you run to shoe department, say, and you pick up a Hugo Vitale or Meralto. You're going to find something like a 3-layer sole, including the heel. I mean, you got 2 pieces of leather sandwiched inside of some wood or some PTE plastic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you might have a leather insole and a leather step-in, 3-4 layers at most. This boot is 14 layers of top-grain compressed leather nailed together with 87 nails in a single boot.
87.
87.
Is that around the sole? So they take the leather and they've got a mold. They put it over top. Mm-hmm. You have your set sole, and then the nails go in.
And
is this cowboy boot style, or is this like worker boot style? So it's lace up. Lace up or slip on?
Lace up. Okay. Lace up. Logger heel fashion.
The true Red Wing style boot. That,
standard Red Wing.
Half of our customers wear in the
Carolina 9821. Your standard boot, but. As a Carolina at that price point, that composition would be something like $150. You got maybe a single 2mm grain on your upper, Nix is a $700 boot that you're going to resole 10, 15 times.
Do you want some coffee, Ricky?
I would love some coffee, actually. That sounds wonderful.
We'll get you some coffee, sir.
Oh, hey.
So basically, you're saying we're at a 2 or 3 ply to a 14 ply leather?
14 ply leather, and that's going down from the very bottom of the heel up into inner, what you would call your step.
I'm going to assume that's weatherproof then. If it's got 14 layers, surely it's not no water's going through it.
There's a composition of sewing.
Expect my money back.
Yeah, right. No, I would expect my money.
If my sock gets wet in this boot, sir, I will be back for my money.
A lot to do with it is the way it's sewn together, the way the sole is going to be sewn onto the actual upper, the leather part of the boot that you're looking at. You know what I mean? There's standard cementing, which you're going to find a lot of lower class boots, maybe under the $100 price point. You're going to find a Blake stitch and a Goodyear welt after that. And you're going to find these are coming out of swing stitches, cross stitches, cathedral stitches, things that I myself had no idea of. Outside of dress shoes, I don't know too much about shoe composition in terms of leather work.
Cowboy boots are the next fashion, men's wear.
Unbelievable. And I don't mean to get on a soapbox about shoes. I apologize.
No. This is what you do. I'm interested.
Right?
Good Lord. Just the time and effort it would take an artisan to craft one of these boots. You're looking at 120, 150 hours just to make a single boot. Your right boot. Just to make that.
So I'm guessing this is a $1,000 pair of boots.
Oh, you got $700 price tag at base minimum. You start at $700 before you go customizing the thing. And if you don't customize it,
then what's the point of spending that much money?
Why are you buying a $700 boot?
Yeah.
It's similar to a car.
What are the layers made out of?
Leather, top grain,
Italian,
leather.
I'm sure.
And it's odd, and I did not realize this until it is only leather. It is compressed and oiled leather.
In 2020, that just seems odd to me that you wouldn't include some sort of composite.
It's the best waterproofing. Well, you'll find
this is handcrafted.
Now, come on,
you'll find composite.
We're in West Virginia where Teflon was created.
But he's talking like a classic handmade boot here.
Right.
I mean, this is going vintage, and
you'll find a Vibram sole on the bottom. Something
I wasn't necessarily trying to ask about a vintage boot. boot.
No, but he's making it like a vintage. If you got 14 layers and stuff, I don't imagine they're too worried about if this is for fashion and looks.
If Red Wing was the
or is it for a work boot?
It is for strictly a work boot.
I agree with Eric. Then
the ultimate.
It should have, okay. So this isn't like a I got mixed up a little bit.
Oh, I apologize.
If it was a fashion boot, like they're using wood. And it's not going to be comfortable. You better get some insoles. Right. But in a work boot, like you're saying, they don't use composite.
They don't use composite. That's
no Kevlar. There's no material.
You're looking to wear that boot in.
How do you keep nails coming out?
You're looking to wear that boot in layers of leather. That's where the 14 layers of leather come in. You're looking at a finishing tack an inch long, but if your boot's standing you up 3.5 inches off of the ground, you're standing on 14 layers.
What's that made out of?
Leather.
That sole is
leather.
Made of leather.
I swear.
I thought we were talking about the
compressed
top of the boot,
oil tan leather.
I don't understand how that's thick enough.
Yeah,
I've
seen some cowhides. My family does cattle. Like they're not that thick.
A little bit of a picture here.
I'm with Eric. They're not 3 inches thick. They have to have some kind of rubber or wood mixed into that.
Layers.
It has to be
layers
with today's world to work in it.
Oil tan leather. A lot of the times you'll find a chrome tan, vegetan, or oil tan.
See what Google says.
So is that the difference? Is that the difference in the tanning? Yes. Like just in the way of like Bob was telling you the other day. You make super glue and baking soda. And you're gonna get a plastic like composite sort of material.
Yeah, I saw
you layer that up. You layer that up. It's going to become a thick plastic. In that same way, you layer up.
Except it can dry thickness wise. Leather, it's got a finite thickness. It either can get dried out and thinned out by stretch, but it's not getting bulkier by adding water.
No, but it's getting bulkier by adding layers.
Yeah,
by adding layers on layers.
That's where the bulk comes from.
14 stacked on top. Like how much?
Well, now see, this isn't you don't necessarily just have say
It's not like it's a strip of leather. You're not talking like a 1/16 inch strip of leather. You're talking like a 3/8 inch strip of leather.
It's something that's been compressed and compressed.
That's all leather right there.
That is all leather.
And then this has got to be wood right here.
No,
that's leather. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. It's thick pieces of leather. Yeah. That picture really explained it very well.
Okay.
And I'll try to if you save that, I'll try to put a link to that somehow.
Absolutely.
In the description.
I'll favorite this article here. And
I'll put that in the link. I'll put that in the link in the description on YouTube.
What about you, Eric? We talked a little bit about boots. What's been on?
I got on your soapbox here.
Yeah. What soapbox are you on tonight? Inquiring minds got to know.
We'd like to find one, Eric. Corey, what do you got, buddy?
Oh, what I want to talk about tonight, guys, is the AI tech.
AI tech.
Yes.
Are you talking Elon Musk?
Yes, Elon Musk.
So
Bill Gates, Google.
Are we talking Neuralink?
I'm talking. Let's just start in a broad statement. Okay. Why are these tech companies who profit off of AI saying that we should fear and avoid AI?
Well, part of me feels like it's some sort of push to develop and something about their company needing to stay alive.
Can somebody pull up Google for me?
Absolutely.
I've got a few things that I've got to get the specifics on.
Feel like
I want to know what Alexa and Siri. What are Alexa and Siri? It's what kind of AI platform is that, or what do they call that kind of?
That's a VI, virtual intelligence. It does not think for itself, cannot pass some sort of computing test, for example, but can compensate in other ways.
It's the same thing that they call a black hole. It's the same thing that they call a black hole. Singularity.
Sure.
Yeah. Look up Singularity on Alexa. Singularity AI, and that's like your basic platforms. That's your Alexa. That's your Siri. That's everything that it's learning about you. And then there's like these more specific. It's these more specific. I'm not looking at Doc Martens. It's the basics, the very basic level of AI.
That's what happens when you take notes.
Yeah, it's a very
you get
basic,
mixed up in your notes.
Right. It's a very basic form of AI, and it's learning at such a fast rate. I think TikTok. We'll look at the different levels of AI and what basically we use in everyday life, which is the singularity. But the problem is we don't know how fast it learns or where it stops. It's like a black hole, and that's why they call it like singularity.
I'm sorry.
Alexa seems to be, Google Home seems to be more so a series of just extended triggers. Mm-hmm. You have a system of call it similar to an operator's board. You know what I mean? You plug in here, you plug in here, you plug in here on the command of. You command that to open your TV.
It's like it's old school computers. Like when you first grew up with a computer and you had to program your things. It's then statements.
If yes,
exactly.
Go here.
Exactly. Loops. If
that's what you call
loops.
loops.
The closest thing to quantum computing we can get to without actually quantum computing.
Now, what you're talking about,
throwing in ads.
Where's the who's coming up with the thing that you're talking about? Who's developing that? That's machine learning, is what it sounds like you're talking about.
I haven't got to that level. I've got to check with Google on what the intermediate and the highest level that we've obtained. That's going to be like taking on human cognitive thinking, behaviors, stuff like that, developing more like a human. But what we use on an everyday basis of AI. But the downside is they're learning about us.
Sure.
And then because of the singularity or however they termed it, it's like a black hole. It keeps growing.
Google's doing something apparently pretty interesting with their their quantum computing systems. Speaking of quantum computing, apparently they've just passed some sort of test here that I have some sort of article in front of me in mid-October last year. Seems like they have done the impossible, the article states. I'll try to read a little bit further here and see what I can find.
Dude, I just want to interject real quick. There's even countries now where they made it a law to where if there is AI in your daily life, you can straight up ask the AI, like, how did you solve this problem? How did you come up with this answer? And it has to, by law, tell you how, because the main thing with AI is we don't know how they work anymore. There's no check. Well,
you're saying so much stuff that I'm not understanding right now. Hang on. Can we back up here for a minute?
Sure.
I'm getting so lost in all of this. Okay, so what is the singularity and who is coming up with this?
Singularity is the term that they're using for the AI platforms that we use on a daily basis. Your Siri, your Google Home, your what is it that Google has on a Samsung device? All of those basic AI.
Samsung has Bixby.
Bixby, yeah, you're talking to Bixby. That's the singularity form of AI. Is the way that they term it. And then there's more levels where they get into more like functioning like humans and stuff. Google should probably tell us all
So would it not have its own independent intelligence then? It's sort of treated similar to like a hashtag service. You click and then it expands.
Yes, and it's just like servers.
Sure.
They just build up all of these servers that have this database where it's just like you said before, it's a switchboard.
I like the switchboard analogy. I hate to tip my own hat here, but
we don't know how it spits up a lot of the answers and how it does the things that it does. It's like I don't know how this cell phone communicates with that one, but I know it's supposed to.
Right.
Man, 5G is
That's
interesting,
what that
isn't
means,
it?
is we don't know. It's a deep topic. Maybe something we can get some more information on and dive back into it. And I'll send you a YouTube video that we all watch. And we'll come back and talk about it.
While we're talking about AI, though, I mean, you've got pioneers. I mean, we're living in pioneer times when we're talking about AI.
I mean, you've got technological advancement in the past 25 years comparatively.
We're ahead of prediction. And watching this YouTube video, I'll send you guys. We're ahead of prediction on where AI is, and as fast as it's growing. What they thought it'd be even in the 90s.
Really?
Kenzie was there as well.
It's not.
We watched that together.
It's not like more than what science fiction had in mind for us.
No. This is what science, in actuality, not in Hollywood. What they.
That's
thought.
what I'm trying to get at, though.
That's not what general public thinks. What scientists calculated the rate of growth of expansion of AI.
But they just didn't understand how the internet worked in the 90s. Right. In the 90s, they had no idea what the internet was going to be. When you loaded up YouTube in the 2000s, there was none of this on there. We wouldn't have been on YouTube. It was videos of cats.
Jackass.
Sounds entertaining.
Windows 95. I remember when I got Windows 95.
Oh God, Windows 95.
And I remember they put schools into the computer. My generation is the last of before and after. before computers, there was not computers in every school when I first started.
Right.
We watched them be brought in during different administrations or whatever else, but it sure has come a long way, and we've got to learn and to navigate through all the AI that we have, because why teach kids how AI works if you're just going to rely on it anyways?
So do we navigate through it, or do we become it?
What's the need?
If you ask Elon Musk, we become it.
What's the need for humans once we have AIs?
You just said you saw the change between before and after computers. Me and Eric would be in the generation that would see the change before and after cell phones, and that in itself, I feel like, has been quite
right. Well, see here,
interesting.
If you ask Elon Musk, he says we need to become part of AI, because at the end of the day, he thinks that. Have you heard this, Corey? That Elon Musk thinks that we are what he calls the biological bootloader for the new race.
We're the .exe file.
Yes,
it's not.
Well, yes, and that's
just a really poor.
Yeah, that's not how files work. But that's not how bootloaders work. But yeah,
that's what this was talking about. Where at some point you become the machine.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
and people want to get these chips in their brains. It helps you expand your thoughts and whatever else, but then they can control your frequencies and what you can handle.
Elon Musk is saying either we do that or we lose what it is to be us, and we will lose this earth. We are now creating the next thing that is going to inhabit this earth right now.
Yes.
We are creating this thing that is going to inhabit the earth, and either we respect it, we treat it nicely, and we mesh with it, or we treat it like it's an object, like we are with clean energy right now.
Can we control it?
And it becomes an issue.
You're talking as if we can control it. What a lot of professionals in the industry, hardcore scientists are saying, that's the scary part, is how do we stop it? We can get along with it fine, but if that computer says you're bad,
that laugh is the answer.
What's that movie where they're up in space and the machine's
Space Odyssey.
Yes.
Space. Yeah. I know, but
that's the argument I'm trying to make. Is
I understand, but there's nothing saying other than you, as the guy that's an engineer, that has to keep fucking pushing. There's just something that says, "Oh, Alexa isn't good enough. We've got to make that better for some reason."
Absolutely.
And now, for whatever reason, Alexa needs to connect to your phone, connect to Amazon, connect to your Kroger shopping, connect to your Ibotta app.
The next thing you know, if Alexa thinks you're in a bad mood, your vehicle gets shut down because they think you're too emotional to drive.
Yeah, maybe what happens if you're going to crash?
Maybe that's what Elon Musk.
Your health insurance is concerned now. Your health insurance just shut down your car because Alexa told it that you're too angry.
It took your vitals from your watch.
Yep.
It took your vitals from the steering wheel.
From your phone, yes.
Took your vitals from the steering wheel. That's already a real thing.
But that's the stuff I'm talking about, where we're ahead of where they thought we'd be in the 90s.
But that's
not sci-fi flying.
Now, okay, but we have control
know
over
exactly
this.
at what point we are.
But we have control over this.
Yeah, what is our role?
What is our role as a defining sense? Where are we in terms of this technological revolution? And do we continue, and how long do we?
And is it going to eradicate humanity?
I truthfully, I don't think so.
I hope not.
I hope not.
Glass is half full. Glass is half full. Yeah.
But I hope not. I don't think it's anything. I feel like this is a dumbed down version of what it will be. I feel like the idea of human race being destroyed, yada yada, is so inconsequential in terms of what may actually be.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, we are going to be the ones to destroy ourselves.
It's a frivolous thought trying.
Yeah, exactly.
We are like you said, the spark, and I think that's what Elon Musk may have meant.
We need not be afraid of privacy leaching, because at the end of the day, we have control over that. We are the consumer, and up to a certain point, and we have control of our data.
Realistically, privacy is just kind of one of our constructs.
And if we have an issue with control of our data, then we need to make changes. And that's just how life is. Maybe we need to consider the internet a utility. Maybe the internet needs to be paid for like your water bill and your sewer bill and every other thing. And it needs to be something...
censored? To a state,
you're talking about that. You're going into SOPA category here. I mean.
But they talked about information being skewed, and the internet was supposed to be this place for information, and now it's That's
you
what
had
you're
to
getting.
pay
That's what I'm
for
getting.
serviceability.
It's supposed to be a pipeline for information.
You would love this
So-
documentary. I'm gonna
So
send
you're-
it to you because it touches on all
Just
of
as much as you should have access to clean drinking water, you should have access to an open internet feed. You shouldn't have to
2020.
have,
I feel like that's a necessity.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's why they're
That's a
running
necessity.
politics and everything else.
If you can't get a paper application to make a job and you have to fight for library time during COVID-19 to
Right.
go get a job so you can make freaking money and not be on unemployment,
Yep.
that's an issue, and
That's an
internet
issue.
needs to be a utility.
Exactly.
Here's a thought though. Maybe an affordable utility. Maybe stop the gouging and set some regulation in place. Because if you think about it, the media has always cost you something. A nickel for a paper.
Well, didn't somebody
Well,
try in
see,
West Virginia?
here-
Aren't
but-
we monopolized because of that fact in West Virginia by Sudden Link? Isn't that exactly how we got to this point?
Basically.
I mean,
but
I'm-
you're asking for a corporation which its only goal is to make profit,
Right.
to not make as much profit as possible.
That's why they don't replace lines. They don't care about speed.
Exactly.
They jack the price up because, hey, we've noticed in data that people aren't canceling after a $5 hike. Let's
Yep.
try it at 10.
Yep.
How many people did we lose?
Yep.
It's all numbers, people.
Oh, if we drop Spike TV, we only lost half a percent of people.
Viacom, we're only losing
Correct.
No problem.
And we saved X amount of dollars.
Yep.
Exactly.
And probably the owner didn't have very close ties to Spike TV.
And that $5-10 hike, I mean,
So-
they're going to lose as many people, but see that in profit tenfold and not worry about that at all.
No,
I mean,
because
yeah.
it's a corporation.
when
That is
profit
their
margin,
directive.
when profit margin is paramount, the customer basis suffers.
The problem is also having to use existing lines.
Oh God, I hate to get on a tangent here, but I
We
get
already
so
have. Keep
I
going.
get so frustrated because the issue here is not in my mind that corporations want to do this, but it's that now our politicians are doing this.
What do you mean, Eric?
You
Well, in
can
the
buy
same
a
way-
politician.
in the-
Bribery is 100% legal in the
Okay.
United
Yeah,
States. You
in the
can
same
buy-
way that we're saying corporations' directives are to make the most profit possible for themselves and their shareholders, the biggest directive for your politician now, your local politician, is not to do things that benefit you and benefit his community, but benefit his pocket.
Yeah.
profit margin.
Whoever
I think they should
owns that
forfeit.
town, DuPont, whoever it may be.
And you can't mess up the status quo.
No.
I mean, there's
God.
you can't.
Or you'll be out of office.
Exactly.
I think you should
Exactly. You'll be
forfeit.
out of job, career.
As a politician, you should forfeit everything coming into office. However,
Like Jimmy
you know
Carter.
how
Jimmy Carter.
I don't
Gave
know.
up his peanut farm. This man had a
Oh
peanut farm.
yeah.
Gave up his peanut
Didn't
farm.
give it to
What
his
do you know?
family, correct? He gave it up.
Gave it up.
Didn't
Had
know
no ownership. Had
Okay,
nothing
just
of it.
wanted
How
to be
about that?
clear on that.
He sold it, I believe.
My point exactly. It didn't stay in the family where there's still influence.
Exactly.
interesting.
But I forget where I was at with.
Politicians are bought and
Oh,
paid for.
yeah. Politicians, they should have to give up everything that they have. And here's the perk. You know how cops get free donuts and free meals at places?
Yeah, I
Hey,
get
give
free
the same
coffee.
thing to politicians. You got a hotel. You want to let your favorite politician stay there for free. You want to give them food.
It's a good look for the
that
hotel.
that is a way you can support your candidates, your politicians. They still get to live that lavish life that makes them want to do good work. But it's not they're not going to base laws
Oh.
It's the same
on
concept.
profit.
It's the
They're
same
going to base
concept
it on, hey, this guy has a good business, blah, blah, blah.
It's the same
Okay.
concept of buying your kid
You
a
only
gift
get to
card for
experience what
Christmas
they're
instead of giving
selling,
them
not
cash.
their profit shares.
On the face of it, though, but
It's
if
the
you're
same
saying Halliburton is now buying you a hotel room,
No.
It's the same
You're
concept.
having
as-
Halliburton wouldn't be a situation or a company that could entertain you. I'm talking about, getting to fly and travel, live that life, go to their wine and dine parties. That's what a politician really is formal events. They just want to be dressed up and nothing.
okay, so you're gonna. So Halliburton's not gonna put me in a hotel room, but they're gonna fly me to an event where they've got women hanging all over
the
me.
airlines are going to give you a free ride because that's what you get as a politician.
Okay, so when I get
It's
in
like
the
a
plane,
tax.
so when I get in the plane, there's gonna be women hanging all over me, and there's gonna be girl in the back who wants to do whatever I want.
No, you're with your family. Your trip's paid for, so you don't need the money to get
because they want me to do what they want me to do. What they want me to do. You
People-
see
there
what
will
I'm
always
saying?
be bribe-
There will
I see
always
what
be
you're saying
ways to
now.
influence
I
me.
see what you're saying.
Whether or
But they won't
not
be
you're
able to-
telling
I see
me
what you're saying.
that,
But they
that they
can't
can't
bribe
directly
with
give
money.
me campaign
They're
contributions.
going to try to
They can't
bribe with
bribe
something
with
else.
money. No.
Everybody wants bribe with sex. Everybody wants bribe with whiskey. Everybody wants bribe with something.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Let's be honest.
There's
It's turned the
something that
world.
you can buy everyone with, and if you're telling me it's not legal to do it with money, then I can give you property. Now you can sell the property. Oh, you can't do property
Here's
anymore?
this watch.
Oh, okay. Here's this watch.
gave
Oh, I'm
everything
sorry.
up.
You can't do a
Gave
watch.
everything up.
Well, that's
Oh, but it's
exactly
just
right.
a
You
friend
have to
giving you
give
a watch,
everything
Corey.
up. You
It's
have to
just
give
a friend.
everything up. You have to sell it off.
It's
You
just-
have to sell it off.
They monitor it just like the
It's
college ball players.
But it's just your friend giving you a watch.
There's
Corey.
going to be exceptions. You are correct.
Well,
I
and that's
agree
where-
with you.
that's
where
I
the
agree with
loophole-
you. But look
That's
at
a Hublot.
That's
though.
where the loophole. That's where the
You know?
loophole of dollar purchase comes into play. A penny purchase comes into play.
compare a politician and the benefits they get in life as a whole, financial and all, compared to a college ball player, because they get a lot of bribes and stuff from the big leagues and they have to do it very
Sure.
carefully, and there's an investigative force. I feel like a college ball player isn't getting as much perks. They're going to be a little more like, this isn't really worth me fucking losing this lifestyle, compared to a politician that gets 150 million in the bank. Because he's got inside trade information. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So you're just capping it and putting it on a lower level. You're not going to get rid of the immoral behaviors.
Sure.
I think that's a really good standpoint to come from, is understanding that you're definitely not going to eliminate it entirely.
Right? Absolutely not. You just want to put a limit on it. So it's like they.
I want transparency. I want you to affect change in my life. I don't want to worry about what you're going to do for your golf course or your hair salon or whatever it is as my local politician.
I don't think my life is truly
think I
changed
should
by
have-
any change of presidency.
I should have the same access.
I'm sorry,
to,
say again.
I don't think my life has ever changed dramatically due to any change of presidency or
Not-
any change of
yeah.
local politician, any
Not
change
like
of
this.
mayor, governor, regardless. I don't think it's frankly
Until
ever
COVID-19.
changed until COVID-19, of course. Little
It's gonna be a
asterisk
significant date
on that
later on.
statement. It's going to
So,
be a significant date later on.
Up until, I agree
until.
with that statement. You
But-
can do whatever choices you want.
Pretty well.
Right.
I mean, and granted, America, land of the free and all, but realistically, when you run under the guise of things are going to change, and I don't see anything change. I mean, what's really going on? Where's our
Well,
heads
but
really
that's
at?
we just touched on that in a previous episode. I mean, there have been changes. There's lots of things,
Yeah.
and who knows if those things are going to come back? Are they going to stop prescribing opioids over the telephone? Are they going to stop using non-public facing apps to come in and communicate with each other? Oh my God, you're telling me that the nurses at MedExpress are going to stop using Facebook Messenger to talk about work? No. And they're not. What are they going to cut? What are they going to make their bosses? Their boss is going to have
that's-
to look through their messages.
And that's
No.
100% my perspective. You know
Sure.
what I mean? That's just what
Sure.
I've seen, me myself. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
not necessarily the world's expectation, the country's expectation, or the reality of the situation. But I'm 25 years old. I've lived with my parents for a little while. Thankfully, I'm out. But good Lord, when I was living under my parents' roof, nothing much was changing for me.
Same
You know what I
rules.
mean?
It's
Same
their
rules.
Their
Granted,
roof,
it's-
their
it's
house,
their house, their
Right.
Yeah,
regardless,
yeah.
whatever that may be. But realistically, working in the world to try to get myself out.
Didn't
of
matter
that.
what your freedoms were
It didn't-
outside, and that's local politics.
Well, exactly.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's
local
a good
politics.
analogy.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I think I got way off track on the Elon Musk
It's
thing,
okay.
but I really
But I
want to
wanted
get back
talk-
to this AI
okay,
thing.
I'm with you.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
right where I was
we're back to this AI
at.
thing.
So, with the AI, they taught. That's the other thing they talked about. We had Yang Gang.
Yeah, Yang Gang.
Yang Gang. What was Yang Gang talking about? He was talking about automation taking over. He's talking about AI. Like, how do we?
He
adapt
was
to this?
talking about a universal basic income, and what did we get, Corey? We got a $1,200
credit-
check
we
that
got
Andrew
creditors.
Yang just told us all about for the first time. None of us had ever thought about that before. None of us ever thought the government could do that. They all told us when Andrew Yang was there that we couldn't have that $1,000. Now what are we doing?
1,200.
Here's what Yang was saying though. Instead of those big corporations getting all their money, they wouldn't have.
That's
we still got
exactly
the $1,200. We got it in 12-month checks. We still saved a
We could have had
shit ton. And we
$1,200
saved
a
the
month.
economy on the basic local level,
Yes, and
where
we
it
could.
matters to keep America and the United States of
Corey,
America.
if
the
I
US
if I give Bill Gates $1 million, he's gonna go and he might buy another yacht. If we're lucky, it might sit in the bank. If I split $1 million between the three of us, it will be gone.
It will.
We will spend it, and we will
I
buy
will.
things from Sam's Club. We will buy things to promote
Yeah,
our businesses.
yeah.
We will buy
$300.
things to
$300 is $30 million to him.
we will buy things.
right.
We will buy things to support our employees of our new businesses. If we had a stipend like that,
Good Lord.
like these corporations are getting, it would all go back into the economy. It would not sit in legacy funds and wait until someone died. But it's just super frustrating.
But they definitely talked about that, and some people were saying that it's not the $1,200. That's not the solution, is what they were saying, because then it progresses to the next level of eradicating humanity. Because once all that automation takes over, the world powers are going to be like, okay, we're just feeding you.
If corporations hadn't gotten that money, though, we could have had the $1,000 at each month that Andrew Yang was
that
talking
would make
about.
it to where the corporations are dependent on us and on buying and spending power. They don't want that.
That's what he's talking about.
Well, we run under the guise anyway. It's a laissez-faire economy, right? That's what we run under the guise of. We control the economy, but 2.2 trillion allocated. We only receive
250 billion.
Yeah, 250 billion. Yeah. I mean, realistically, what's happening?
Yeah, that's what the taxpayers got.
Us.
The taxpayers. That's
just
Amazon and all them included, because they don't pay taxes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, their employees may, whatever else, but they don't pay taxes the way I have.
Wait a minute, Amazon doesn't pay taxes?
No, absolutely not.
Jeff Bezos cleared zero.
Amazon doesn't pay taxes?
Yes.
What?
Yeah. They cleared zero.
Yes.
Wait, Jeff Bezos doesn't pay taxes, or
Google
Amazon
any
doesn't?
huge company. That's what everybody's.
They don't pay taxes.
Well, that's the problem with Walmart. Is we're paying for their employees to have medical disability, medical cards, because they don't make enough money. While Walmart is making record profits
to get food stamps.
and they're not paying any taxes, so they're not even contributing to the fund that's paying for their employees.
No. Right. How was it back in the day that Aunt Sally could work for the shoe department at Sears? She can manage the shoe department at Sears and make all the money that she needs with her husband in the house as well to provide for 2 cars and a mortgage for the home. But now, if you're telling me that you work as a manager at a Walmart, you're still on food stamps.
That blows
because of inflation, and they're forcefully making people play the stock market, which is inflated and controlled by our government.
They'll give you bonuses of stocks.
Or you can't keep up with inflation.
Right.
And you have to ride other people's falls.
And on the off chance the money or the company fails, you don't have that money. Their stock is dropped.
It's worth what it's
have
selling for.
Zero. They clear nothing.
So, Amazon paid taxes. So, you want to guess what their tax rate was that they paid?
0.
1.2%.
Do you know what mine is?
On $13 billion.
Mine's 30.
Amazon's profit was
32
billion?
32, and I think I have to pay 6% self-employment on top, or that may be included. It's like 32,
was
at least
that
32%.
Jeff Bezos specifically?
Now tell me a 1 to 30 ratio.
A 1 to 30 ratio, excuse me.
On taxes. Now I'm giving more money in taxes than what I bring home.
Jesus Christ.
And Amazon brings home butt cakes.
Yeah.
They paid $156 million on $13 billion.
13
billion.
What's gift tax? What is was like
15,000 is what you can give a year.
40%?
Oh, gift tax.
Well,
after you get 15, it's close. Well, it depends on the tax rate under the presidency.
$15,000 per person. You get like an allotted amount per person before you start getting taxed.
It's 15, but he's saying if you win the lottery, the gift tax or winnings tax, it'd be whatever it is for that million.
Sure. Okay.
Which is less than what I pay.
For instance, like I know a guy just won.
It's less as you go up and make more money.
Lord. Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Because you're more influential.
Right. You have more power
in this economy.
You have the ability to put that money.
I know a guy that just
won. That could be more beneficial than governmental tax.
I know a guy that just won $25,000 on a lottery ticket, and he got $17,500.
Wow!
Do the math on that real quick.
It's like 9.
That's like
9. No, that's got to be at least 24%.
Yeah, that sounds like.
That's what
I mean.
That's the
$9,000.
that is the standard that the federal government will tell you to withhold is 24%.
Heard.
Yeah, 24.
It's weird how I know all these stupid numbers I never wanted to know, but it's like you're forced to learn them in business because you see them in such repetition, and it's like we talk about like with the COVID episodes and stuff, and these big corporations getting the upper hand, and it's crazy to see that they just create such an extensive corporate structure that they avoid all these taxes and they just put their profits in different areas.
Well, I mean that's part of the game too, finding out different areas and alleys and ventures and. What's that? Venture capitalism? I mean,
does that make Elon Musk one of the most magnanimous billionaires in the U.S.? Because all he does with his millions,
it's not even based on economic growth; it's based on potential.
All he does is expand.
Right.
All he does is expand. All he does is go, oh, I'm going to do the Boring Company.
I invested.
I'm going to send the Roadster to space.
That's what they talked about. They're not investing.
Oh, you want a rocket in space? I'm going to do that.
They're not
I don't know if
investing.
he has that heavy of an accent. I appreciate the attempt.
They're not investing in what he's producing economically. He's not making hand over fist. His prices change, whatever's. They're investing in his stocks are just soaring right now to unbelievable marks, like 1,000% since last year. And it's because of what he's doing. That he is the future of technology. And it's not. It's based on the idea and his success, and he keeps pumping out and having successes. Doesn't matter if it's economic or not. That stuff will get worked out. He'll pull those people on board. But if he's innovating and finding the technology and making it first, hands down, SpaceX,
Right.
Tesla, Teslas are everywhere
Neuralink.
in Cali. Teslas are everywhere.
Do you know anything about Neuralink? dude?
Neuralink
This
yes.
is crazy.
A little bit.
Biggest advancement period ever to happen.
Do you know how we got
Ever.
Alexa and Google Home? Speaking of AI, it's some
I'd like
defense
to know.
organization. It
Okay.
started with a defense organization.
You know what? I think I've heard that.
Something
Nora?
RBO, Nora, Hasbro.
What?
There's a self defense military branch that Alexa and some of these other AIs came from. They first started as defense Secretary of Defense stuff.
What?
Yes,
I never heard that. That's crazy. But
this is all in the documentary I'm going to send you. It's very fascinating.
But Neuralink, seriously, dude, this shit with Neuralink is insane.
But they talked about Neuralink as well. That's why I'm curious. I hope that's not it.
You've got 96 of these little cords, these little threads, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they've built a specialized robot, spent millions and millions on the specialized robot. They're gonna take a chunk out of your head, right?
Yes,
Just like Star
yes,
Trek kind
yes.
of things. And insert this little thing that's going to attach these electrodes all over your
The
brain.
chips I was talking about at the start of the episode. that's
going to
it.
have tons, thousands.
They talk about
thousands
frequency controls.
of electrodes.
What you can
per
handle.
array.
So all of a sudden you're doing something they don't want you to do. Zzz, and you get that ringing sound. You've seen
We already
those-
have that. We already have that. Have you seen the crowd control devices?
I'm sorry?
Have you
I've
seen
heard of
those
them.
crowd control devices? I showed you those. I can't remember what they were called now.
Targeted.
where they hit the sound.
Yes. And it's
targeted directional.
ear piercing. I mean, it's literally
Like a dog whistle on steroids.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
it
good night.
can deafen you, and that's why they're behind it. I don't remember what it's called. It's it's
I wanna try to find
a
that.
police weapon that they use. God, there are things to be scared of when it comes to signal control, but Elon Musk really just seems to think that this is going to bring us closer to each other. See, the way he
Yes, that's the
explains
design.
it. Well, the way he explains it is that when you speak to me, what I'm doing right now is I'm taking the pictures that I'm forming in my brain with thoughts, I'm converting them into words, and then you are taking those words, converting them back into pictures and making sense of them into your brain.
And the Neuralink will help you process into this immediately.
That Neuralink would send the pictures directly to your brain. You would get the pictures and understand without me needing to talk to you.
And the
Right.
second they use the
He literally
LRAD,
said you will not need to talk. But the second they use that LRAD on you, which is
second
that
they use
police
that LRAD,
weapon,
which is that police weapon,
you're going to
All
be
of
double
this is
down.
double-edged
you are going to be on your
Yeah.
knees.
Double-edged sword to all this tech. It's
Yeah.
so helpful.
Well, there's always a catch-22.
Right.
Realistically, we're advancing.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the greatest advancement in technology? The ability to compress devices and circuitry. I mean,
Let's
This
just
is
hope
why
that
that's
people in
turned that
power are
into
good to us.
Neuralink.
Right.
Well, hey, you know.
Well,
you
this is
can't fight
why
the
you got to be
defeat.
nice to AI before it takes over.
Oh, there's
Say please and thank you to your Alexa, everybody.
There's a wonderful little analogy I love about two dogs. It's there's a French dog who has the rebellious young attitude, and there's an American dog who has the pragmatic view of the world that's just truthfully solely American. French dog says to the American dog, "You know what? I think it's time we start not wagging our tails and not coming to the door when the humans are around, and not barking, not yada yada yada." The American dog says, "You know what? I'm agreeing with everything you're saying. I like what you're saying. It sounds good, but humans are the ones who open the refrigerator."
So back to what I was saying real quick. Sorry to interject, but the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, DARPA is what developed the Alexa, the Siri, and those basic platforms.
Okay.
And that's what some concerns were, is they created the software for defense purposes,
Sure.
which isn't, they want to know everything. They want to catch everything. They want to make it a two-way street because it's
Right.
for our protection in the military.
Right.
So they don't really know all the applications or what it's learning.
Well,
what
of
all
course,
it's
you have an
learning.
Alexa right here,
Yes, I do.
so you're not concerned.
No.
I'm sorry.
I'm pretty uninteresting. But it can still database and learn a lot about you to know what you want to buy.
But what are you giving up?
Oh,
what
he's
are
talking
you-
about lifting weights all the time.
But what are you giving up to your Alexa that you're not giving up in other places in your life?
I've always told.
Correct.
I've always
they can
told
listen to your cell phone.
my
Yeah,
parents, for
exactly.
example, what are we doing that's so interesting that somebody would listen?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And I take that, but I'm also a libertarian at heart, so it's like freedoms,
Sure.
and say something was the government was to oppress us, militias were to get active,
Yeah.
and then they used all this
And
to
on the
track us and
assumption
defeat
of,
us.
and on the
That's
assumption of,
that's where
how
I think, yeah,
I understand that.
not a
viewpoint
paranoia
entirely.
from my personal life, but if we were to have to bear arms, against a
Paranoia
tyrannical
for-
government, which is what we have the Second
Yeah.
Amendment for,
Sure.
that's when it's going to be a problem.
Right. What do you
So
think
we'll
about?
have to just go dead silence back to radio.
What do you think
calls.
about gun purchases during COVID?
What would happen if we all had the Neuralink then?
Yeah.
Dear God.
Yeah, but it could also get hacked, and just like World War II, where we knew Japan and where they were going to be and what they were going to do.
Sure.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, could you imagine trying to fight a war when all of us have Neuralinks?
Correct.
Oh, Lord.
It'd be
Fuck.
glitchy as fuck because everybody's like reading onto the same paths
Yeah.
and bullets and
it'd be
trajectories.
bad.
I
That
mean,
would be
really,
so
do you
bad.
try making people without Neuralink at that point?
Yeah.
Are the ones without the Neuralink really the chosen ones, if you will?
Right.
Be able to
I'm
fight
sure
the
we're
war
going to have
without-
some.
Good lord.
Oh, God, that's a Hollywood
Yes,
movie.
That's a Hollywood movie. 100%.
best part of what I took out of this AI documentary was the health aspect. And what they do have now in China, they have apps. And it reads through your phone, through your hand, your temperature, whatever else. And it basically says, like, hey, you're in good health. And you have to show that to get in and out of places in China. That's something you have to carry around.
Oh, this is something I heard tell about a while ago
Yes.
in an anime I used to watch.
Yes,
so they
this
had like
AI...
they had a social status system.
Mm.
So, like, if you didn't help the old lady across the street, or you tripped somebody on the sidewalk,
Your
or
good
whatever it
points
is,
go down.
that camera, that security camera that's on the sidewalk, just to catch criminals, that also saw you do that, and doop, 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 there you just lost 2 points on your social score.
Maybe that's linked into this, but this
So
is
now you're not
purely
allowed
COVID.
to go places.
This is purely COVID
Well,
and your health.
but this is the start of it.
I feel like
This is the start of it. You see
oh,
what I'm
you're saying that's the future.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is the start of it.
Yeah,
This is
you're
where
not
you
wearing-
go, oh, you're healthy, you can come inside now.
Yeah.
And in the future, it's, oh, well, you're not of the status that we need for you to be in this establishment.
well, I need you to be at this rating.
Yeah, you are not mentally stable enough to be in this restaurant.
And the
sir, I'm
Communist
sorry.
China Party, the Chinese Communist Party, they already have this app and you have to use it. So I always like to mirror and watch what China is mandating, making. Like
Yeah.
there's no votes, there's no nothing. And if I see my government pushing the same way, whether it's for the better of health in general, I'm also close to watch to make sure we don't end up under the same
Sure,
regimen,
sure. That's a really good point to be made. Yeah,
That's
a
how
really
I've
good-
watched the whole
I
COVID,
think a
like
lot of-
locking people indoors, and I saw them locking them in rooms and forcing them into the
Yeah.
quarantine. You guys
Yeah.
saw those videos,
Yeah.
inhumane.
I think I lost my train of thought.
It's okay. But that's when they went and they wrote these laws and they said, we can detain you without arresting you and reading you your rights. That's when I got scared because I'm watching the China do this to their,
Yeah.
And they're the more cold, calculated version. As
Like,
to where
yeah.
we're jumping to the gun and firing this off
have some
at
hoops to
moment's
jump.
notice. And we're going to go and see those rings of hoops and
what we have to jump through. And
exactly and what we're
Precautions.
going to have to do. And whether we play along is going to
So do you
determine
get the
how
Neuralink when it comes out?
I don't think I don't know. I don't know. It depends on what's going on at the time and where I'm at with my mental capacity. So I have TBI, so I already have some memory problems. So if that could help that,
What if it was
take me
like
down,
Black Mirror? What if it was like Black Mirror, Corey, and you had
You had a
recall?
small cord on the head.
Exactly.
We're able
What
to
if you
link
had
it to a
full
TV.
recall?
I would
bring up a
seriously
memory
consider
system.
it. I'd seriously consider it in that case. It
Oh my
depends where
God.
I would be at here.
Right.
Yes.
And it would be consider it on how many people have done it before me. I don't think I'd want to be one of the pioneers.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna wait to be like the millionth customer on the dot. Like, okay, I have some faith in this. These guys have been walking around for at least 2 years.
Yeah,
you know, like
right.
no
Yeah,
serious
I understand.
problems. And see what the
understand.
recovery time is. See if there's
Yeah.
any because you mess with the brain.
First batch, I think I'm taking it. Not going to lie.
Really?
I'm taking it. Long term, I think it's a benefit. Short term, I think it's a poor decision. But
Now-
realistically, if we're able to install Neuralink, it's not going to be an issue to reinstall another Neuralink.
I think you guys.
That's what they
kinda
talked
touched-
about too. Infinity.
I think you guys touched on this earlier a little bit. Now, did you guys ever read Dr. Seuss growing up?
Yes.
You remember the Sneetches? At this point, do you become the Sneetch with the star or the Sneetch without? Which is the group that is the popular one to be in? Do you need the Neuralink to be popular?
yes.
Oh, but wait, tomorrow it's more popular to not have the star. Oh, tomorrow it's better to not have the Neuralink. So then do you rip
Right.
it out?
Weigh your pros and cons individually. I mean, there are going to be people that are going to trend set. So if it's nothing but a trend setting thing, I probably will look at it a little more cautiously, but I'll be looking at the medical patients that need it for...
I just mean, imagine how many people are going to make it a trend
Yes,
thing.
yes.
Medical benefit,
I'm saying
I
if
want.
it's only...
They're going to look down on you. The people that can afford the Neuralink...
cost of it, that's a whole
the
other
people-
topic.
I was just about to
It's a
say,
whole
so
other
we start
topic.
talking about
The
how-
people that can afford the Neuralink initially are going to be higher status than you, and you will now become a Sneetch without the star. You will now be looked down upon because you don't have this total recall of your memory. You don't have this processing power to do these math equations in your head like he can. You are now lesser.
It's that catch-22
inferior.
again.
You're inferior.
Now,
Yeah.
Why don't we create just all of these categories? Why not AI? Why not AI sports?
It's
why
coming.
don't
It's
we have
coming.
Neuralink dudes fighting in
We
UFC?
already have it with Bot Wars.
Oh, okay.
You know what? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You could look at some of the.
I don't know if it's still
medieval
remote
class
control, but I'm
categories.
sure
I
it's-
don't think that's quite a category of like other sports, but yeah.
I'm sure
BattleBots is still around.
I'm sure it's advanced from the remotes to straight up AI computers until you knock it in the head.
I mean, like
and it's
people.
not working.
No. I
anymore.
mean, like people though.
It's still a robot in a human, shape and form.
I guess
So,
people are still controlling.
You want it to go and advance into like robotic humans.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're looking
I
for
get it.
robotics
Yeah, yeah.
specifically made to do it.
I'm saying we're
Yeah.
already there. They just got to transition it into that new form.
I
That's
just
shaped
don't
like
know
a
why we
human.
don't have all these categories.
Car manufacturers already
Once you
have the
watch this
metal arm,
documentary, you
robotic
will see
arm.
where it's at. They are there.
We could cobble
They
that
got
together.
the human forms, and they're sitting there, and that's what they talked about. These kids growing up in it, and they got AI that they're creating in their room with their robots and stuff. And they're saying that the scary thing about switching to all AI with your defense and stuff, and like Terminator style, like Skynet, is these kids will be able to hack into it because they're growing up in it.
Oh gosh, you're going
yeah.
into war games territory
And it's
now.
it's hacking.
Sure.
It's
Sure.
hacking.
The white hat versus black hat hacking category has always
What's
been
that
one.
mean?
It's good hacking versus
Oh
bad
yeah,
hacking. if you
I've
will.
met a lot of good hackers along my travels with the vape industry, and they're
Right.
just like, like anything you need help with a computer, like
Yeah.
anonymous, bro, I got
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And it's out of genuine love, and
Right.
like do good. Like
It's not a want to
It's not
take
a we're
anything from
terrorizing.
anyone.
No, we're here to protect.
Yeah.
And if you guys are going to try to suppress stuff on the internet, like guess what, boys, we're fishing it out of the deep sea and throwing it at you.
Good lord.
Well, that's
those are
what
things that are
that's
finished.
what not Julian Assange, but Edward Snowden did.
Yeah, Edward
that's
Snowden.
what Snowden did.
Yeah, the
Snowden's-
ultimate whistleblower.
We did
Snowden's
talk
not
about
hiding,
Snowden?
but he's not here.
Well, yeah, he's tactically suppressing himself.
I think Russia is keeping Snowden because Snowden
Because
is a
of
secret-
Perot, he's doing so much for Putin.
well,
Come on.
Well, Putin has learned to embrace it, but he has something that is very valuable that no one can get if he dies. I think he's got something saved somewhere.
Oh, right.
It's a safe keep, like, just so you know, I got this on you, this on you, this on you, and if I don't report
on my
in with this
deathbed.
passcode with a computer next to me, it goes out to the World Wide Web and everybody hears your story.
Hell yeah.
That's what I
Hell
would
yeah.
do.
I think it's on Putin, though.
I
think
think
that's
it's
why
on
he's in
Putin as
Russia.
well. I think it's on Putin as well.
I think that's why he's in Russia.
Do you think that's
I think
next?
they do so much crazy shit that you just can't clean up everything.
Do you think that's why he's with them?
I
Or
do.
what? Really?
I do.
You think he's
Do you
working
think
with
this
him,
is
or
gonna
that's
be-
I do.
This is going to be the
That's
next
just the
whistle
same-
blown, or this is going to be the next tactical approach?
If he disappears.
If he disappears, well, now see, that's a completely different story in itself. If he disappears,
But that's the tactical suppression thing. See,
if
Vladimir
Edward
Putin
Snowden-
probably knows that he's in Russia.
sure.
So when Edward Snowden is
Edward-
putting out these things and
If
he's saying,
Edward
"Oh, I'm in
Snowden-
Russia,"
If Edward Snowden escaped America after
probably
doing what he
pretty okay.
did, good Lord, I'm sure he's just fine
Russia's
where he is
enormous.
right now. Russia
dude.
is enormous.
He's okay in Russia, and I really feel like in all of his like pokings out in the darkness of the internet with all of the dirt, Russia operates like the Italian mob.
Oh my
dude.
gosh.
There's a blood stain somewhere on somebody's wall where it's like, damn, we missed that one.
There's a
and
comedian-
it's just someone like Edward Snowden who's always spending time looking at this stuff is eventually going to find something.
There's a comedian, Bert Kreischer, who has a great little insight in how the Russian police force may work in his story, The Machine. If you're ever interested, YouTube that. It's fantastic. But
Everyone's seen The Machine.
Oh, good Lord, I hope. Oh, man, if we're got an audience of people here, I'd hope they'd seen it. Anyway, welcome back, Corey.
I bet Corey's seen The Machine.
You've
What
seen The
Machine?
Machine, Bert Kreischer. The Machine
You've never heard
story?
The Machine story? We'll have to show you
Oh,
that.
we'll have to
fresh
show you
ones.
that.
I'll
Oh,
have to
Lord,
show you that
I'm going to eat
podcast.
my foot real quick.
No, but
Oh,
no, but I really
Russia is
think
a ridiculous
I really
monster
think they
itself.
have too many little stains out there, and that he just found something and just kept digging,
Well-
and kept digging until he found the body.
I mean-
and then when he found the body, he went
How
and
much-
zoomed out to Russia, got a hold of Putin, and was like, "Listen, I got it. Stay the fuck away from me. I'm here."
I have to report in this computer every, so
Exactly what you said, or everything's gonna happen. Don't worry about where I am. And Putin's just dying right now to know where Snowden's at. I really feel like
There's a lot of people in the world dying
I
to know
don't
where
feel
Snowden's
like
at.
I really don't feel like they're working together.
Is it really the question if
No, it's
if
blackmail
Putin did
status, is
something
what you're saying.
or what exactly he has? Because I good Lord,
Thank
Vladimir
God for
Putin-
people like him, though.
Yeah, no, thank God for people like him.
I just if we didn't have him, dear God, where would we be on the privacy thing? We were talking about privacy in a
Sopa came up
previous
earlier,
episode.
too.
Like,
What if he never opened his mouth and he didn't hey, why are we recording all this?
Warrantless
These are
wiretapping.
American citizens.
Yeah.
This isn't what this was designed for. Your computer, basically your program's off. You're recording the wrong people, and they're
Exactly.
like, sit down and shut up and know your role.
Right.
What if he wouldn't have stood up because
this
of
is
pressure?
America.
Yeah.
We have the right to do this. We have the right to free speech.
And is that
Absolutely.
something we should be concerned about?
But it's being taken.
We've deemed Edward Snowden a whistleblower and exiled him from the United States of America.
But
Quite
did the
literally.
people?
The people didn't.
Well, okay, excuse me.
Popular
Misspeak
vote, he
here.
wins.
Popular,
Yeah.
popular
I
vote.
believe
He's
that.
good to go.
By a trial of his peers?
Does this mean we are truly an oligarchy as a country? Have we finally
Yes.
reached that point?
Yes.
Is
Yes,
this
that's
the
why
turning
we're ready
point?
for what we are.
We're so close. And that's why I'm so interested in anyone that says we need change. Get the money out of politics. We need change. But then those same people are just so into themselves.
I feel like there's no other way.
Yeah.
They're so into
They're
themselves.
so into
Yeah.
themselves. The
And it's
money-
like there's no money in politics or nothing, and there's no other way to do this. It's everything changes or nothing
it's
at
like
all.
there's a giant slush fund
It's
that
like,
just changes
Jesus
hands
Christ.
between different politicians when the time comes. You know?
Why can't we all understand that at a certain degree we have the same wants and have different ideals of how to get there?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that's where the two-party system came into play. You know what I mean? I feel like we have two separate identities between us. We can categorize easily as two different kinds of people. Let's try to take a vote to see which way is going to get us there easier.
Yeah.
So, last thing I got to ask everybody. Do you feel like AI, we talked about AI tonight. Do you guys believe, short answers, that AI is going to end or eradicate humanity?
No,
Where it's
we
like,
talked
hey,
about-
these people aren't needed.
No,
We're
no,
just
no.
feeding them. They're not contributing.
No, we're gonna end ourselves before that.
I think it's going to change humanity and keep us alive longer past our expiration date. I think it's going to extend life indefinitely.
Keep your eye on Elon Musk and what he's saying, because he's going to be the pioneer into all of this, and he's going to be the one that kills us all.
And we'll
if
do
that's
some
the
more
way that it's gonna
research. We'll
go.
do more research on Elon Musk and maybe do an episode on him and what he's doing with SpaceX and stuff.
You
So I
all will
think
find
that-
some links in the description as well. We've probably noted a couple of different things around the podcast here, so feel free to check the description, guys.
This is Three Broken Chairs. Have a good night.
Thank you all.
See you.